Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I am here today with a new little series. It is called Same Album, Different Measurements. So we'll be making this same album, so it's the same layout, but it'll just be in different measurements. Easy, right? I came up with this series because when I made this little album in a box, we made the box on September 20th, 2023 for my box launch series. And then we made the mini album on September 22nd, 2023. It fits in the box. This one's all sealed up, ready to go. It has a new home. But here's the album. So I got so many positive comments and feedback, a lot of private messages from brand new people to crafting, and I got a couple from my advanced crafters that are way more advanced than I am. Everybody loved this album. Why? Because it is simple, okay? It was super easy to put together. It has the wow factors. But we're going back to basics with this one. There is, the only interaction are these little flaps, which sometimes that's enough, right? I do love a complicated mini album. Those are my favorite, that has pop-up and flip-flap magnets and, the whole kitchen sink. Those are my absolute favorite. But I also love these little guys that I can gift as gifts, right? You have a coworker that's going to have a baby. You could whip one of these up the day before because you done forgot to give her a gift, right? She's going to love it more than any store-bought gift that you can give. So for a full walkthrough of this album, you'll see most of it today. But anyway, so we're going to make these in different sizes. This album is great for craft fairs as well. Super inexpensive to make. The different sizes, you can put them in different paper collections. You can add more to the front. I'm clean and simple, so this is my style. But if you are shabby chic, you can add your flowers, your rosettes, your bows, belly banded up. The possibilities are endless, right? But we're also catering to the craft people who were like me. When I started my page, 9 years ago, I didn't have a lot of supplies. I had about a little Tupperware. It was probably the size of 2 shoe boxes full of supplies. That's all I had, right? And I had no idea how to get into mini albums. I started off as Stampin' Up! Card maker. I went to a little Stampin' Up! Party and did cards, but I really loved albums. I just had no clue. Now, I was not a crafter as a kid. I did not enjoy it at all. I don't like paint. I don't like construction paper, sandpaper. I don't like any of it, right? So as a kid, I was not a crafty person. But as an adult, I really enjoy this paper crafting. I still don't enjoy paint, but I do enjoy paper crafting. So this album is super easy for my very beginners, and it's complicated enough for my level 10 crafters, right? So we're going to do the same album, different measurements. Today's measurement is going to be slightly smaller because I did have somebody say they only have 8.5 by 11 paper, and it used a lot of that paper to make this album because this is 4.5 by 4.5. So today we're going to do 4.25 by 4.25. So that way we can fit a lot onto the 8.5 by 11 sheets, which I did not pull out of my cabinet. Okay, so for today's album, I'm going to use Old Olive 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and I need to find my measurement cheat sheet. Look at my chicken scratch. Anyway, okay, so the measurements will be in the description box. Okay, And our first cut is going to be 4 1/4 by 9. So 4 1/4 by 9. We're going to score this at 4 1/4 on both sides of the long edge. So put your long edge at the top, 4 1/4, rotate, 4 1/4, and you have a piece that looks like that. Okay, put that to the side. Your next half is going to be 4 1/4 by 8 3/4. You're going to save these little pieces. You can use them for tags. You might be able to get your pocket out of that. I'm not sure. And then again, we're going to score it on the long side. So put your paper horizontal at 4 1/4, rotate 4 1/4. I know I'm not usually a rotator. I usually do the measurements, but with these weird measurements, because that's a 3/8 of an inch, this is a 1/4 inch, the other one's going to be 1/8 of an inch. It's just easier to rotate your paper. And then the last one, it will be 4 1/4 by 8 5/8. So 4 1/4 by 8 5/8. 1, 3, 5. That is the tick mark between 9 1/2, or excuse me, 8 1/2 and 8 3/4. If you need help, you can always go online and Google the rulers that have the 1/8 inches marked, so you kind of know. But it's just the tick mark between the 1/2 inch and the 3/4 inch. Okay, and again, you're going to score it on the long side, 4 1/4, rotate 4 1/4. That'll give you this baby little 1/8 of an inch. Okay. All right, put those to the side, and now we're going to go ahead and make our pockets. Our pockets are 2 1/4 by 5 1/8. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. No, actually I'm not. Let me look at our scraps. Where's my ruler? 2 1/4. I thought we could get away with it, but we can't. So we are going to use our scraps. So we need 2 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and move this over and score it at 1/2 on the short side. So that way I can do both of my pockets at the same time. Okay. And now I need to cut it at 5 1/8, right? Yep. And then cut the second piece at 5 1/8. Now, the reason why, well, typically when people do pockets, they make it an entire inch bigger than their page, and then they score it at 1/2. I make mine an 1/8 of an inch smaller, so when I put my pockets on, I already know they're going to fit perfectly on my page. I'm not going to have to worry about the score line or anything like that. So people do their things differently. I try to do multiple things at the same time, like this right here, my 2 pieces. I'm scoring at 1/2 an inch at the same time. And then I already did my 1/2 an inch on the bottom, and I'm going to flip them around, and I'm going to do 1/2 an inch on the other side. So you need to score them at 1/2 an inch on 3 sides to make the pocket. Okay. There we go. My score blade likes to fall out. So 1/2 an inch on either side of the long side, and then 1/2 an inch on the short side. Okay. Now, for me, this is where I like to go ahead and add my tape. You can do glue. I just like tape because it's quick. And yes, my camera is glowing weird colors. This pink looks like a purple, and this green looks like a brown. I don't know. I don't know why it's color correcting like that, and I don't know how to change it. All right, make sure you don't put your tape on your score line, which I just did, and how to move it. Okay, so here are our pockets. And I'm just putting score tape. Again, you can use glue, whatever you want. Where's my little, here we go. All right, and then here, okay. All right, so put my pockets to the side, and let's go ahead and cut our flaps. And our flaps, we need 2 that are 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. I really wanted to use my scraps. That's okay. Okay, so 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. So I'm gonna cut my paper 4 1/4. And then 3 1/4. So 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. We need 2 of those. And then we need to score at 1/2 inch on the long side. And I'm going pretty fast because most people, when they do these mini albums, they will cut their paper out first, thanks to the cutting guide. Okay, so we need 2 of those. So now we need 4 flaps that are 4 by 4 1/2. So 4 1/2 by 4. So we can use our scrap here. Oops. And then all of these are going to need to be scored on the long side, so the 4 1/2 side at 1/2 inch. You can do your scoring as you go, or you know, individually. I do both. All right, so this one needs to be 4 by 4 1/2, 4 by 4 1/2. Both of these need to be scored at 1/2 inch. My scoring blade keeps falling off because it's old. I have new ones, I just haven't put them in there. And we have one more, which I'm going to use a scrap, not from this project, but from a different project. And I think this should be, so 4 by 4 1/2. And score it at 1/2 on the long side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So this measurement does save on your 8 1/2 by 11 paper, if that's all you have. Obviously it takes, what did I just have, three sheets or something? I don't know. But save all of these little pieces because you can use them throughout your album for like card backers or whatever you need. All right, so let's go ahead and add score tape to our flaps. Or if you are using glue, then just like fast forward through this. You can miter the corners if you want. This one, I'm not going to. But on some of the smaller albums, I do because bulk. So let's go ahead and add this on. We are going to varnish and whatnot for these albums. And if you're making a bunch of these for craft fairs, or one, you know, for every person in your family, you can absolutely assembly line make these, cut all your flaps at once, cut all your pockets at once, cut all your main pieces at once, and then assemble them. That's what I did, because I needed 4 of them. And I did this size. Pockets, you're gonna cut at the intersections, normal pockets. You're gonna make sure that the pieces are not touching. If they are touching, you need to cut off just a little bit more, because that kind of cuts out the bulk. There you go. Same to your other pocket. This one I'm going to decorate with a Christmas collection just so you can see the difference. The next size in the series, you're definitely will be able to see the difference in the size. This one, it's a slight difference. This is just so it was more cost effective for my peeps that only have 8.5 by 11 paper. Oh my gosh, I am not doing great on pockets today. All right, there we go. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and varnish all 4 of my other flaps as well. Okay, so all that's good. I'm gonna bring back in my 3 pieces and I'm gonna go ahead and varnish those lines. These are my pages, if you will. Okay, and just making sure that everything's lined up correctly. Sometimes when you score, you don't score correctly, but that's fine, as long as you make your paper line up. Okay, and so this piece here, I made the spine a little bit too big. Well, not on this piece that I'm working on, but the very first piece, I made that a 1/2 inch instead of 3/8 of an inch, but I think it'll be okay. I just didn't want to redo the video. So we're gonna see, it'll still work out. It just may not fit in our box that we made. It should. And actually what I'm gonna do is I will put I'll put a little note in the description box so you can determine which one you want. If you want the 3/8 of an inch to fit in the box, or if you want the 1/2 inch, I will let you know. I will put that note in there. If it doesn't fit. If it fits in the box, then it don't matter. All right, so I'm going to use glue. I used score tape on the other one, but honestly, I'm too lazy to get my smaller score tape out. It's I ran out, so I have to get my backup stock, and it's in another room. All right, so I'm just laying this down, making sure they line up on top and bottom, and it's in the middle as best as it can be. There should be roughly, I don't know if that's an 1/8 of an inch or a 1/16 of an inch. It's an 1/8 of an inch on either side. You can get your ruler out and do it, or just eyeball it. It's fine. See, it's just kind of in the middle. If it's not exactly in the middle, it's fine. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing for our other one. This 1/8 of an inch, I didn't think I would like working with the 1/8 of an inch. I thought for sure I was going to have to change it, but with glue, I don't mind it. Same thing, open it up, kind of put it in the center as best as you can. And again, you should have that little bit of cardstock on either side, but it should be flush on the top and the bottom. Okay, I just can't see with the angle of where I have to have my camera in my head. Okay, there we go. That's good enough. The glue gives you a little bit of wiggle room, as you can see. Score tape does not. All right, so there's my album. Now you can decide if you want your album to have the rounded corners or the square corners. I'm going rounded just because that's what I did on the first one. So I probably could have just rounded my corners before I glued them all together, but I didn't. Let me do one at a time for these ones. And then I am going to round my flaps. You can have straight corner flaps or round corner flaps. Or if you have the fancy punches, you can have whatever design you want on your ends. Okay. So the construction of the book is pretty much done. Now you just got to add all of your flips and flaps. So we're going to add our pockets to both of the inside covers. So I'm just taking the backing off. Oh wait, I forgot I rounded mine. So I'm going to round the corner. Preferably before you take the backing off. And because I rounded the right corner, this one needs to go in the back. All right, so this is going here. Again, it's going to give you roughly 1/16 of an inch on either side. So you're not worried about your pocket going over the edge of your paper, and you're not worried about your pocket interfering with your score line. Okay? Make sure that's varnished in there well. My second pocket's here. Open the book. This needs to be punched on the left side. Okay, backing off. If you forget to punch, who cares? Nobody knows what it's supposed to look like except for you. It's not a big deal. All right, and then we're getting this in there again. Varnish. Okay, right. We need our small flap. I'm going to punch. I'm going to do all four sides. Because I did it to that one, I'm going to go ahead and do it to the second one too. Okay. Take your backing off. I'm going to put this in the middle. I have to turn my book sideways. That's just how I work. I can do it quickly. Right, now we've got to do the same to the back page. So flip your book all the way over. Take your backing off. Put it in the middle as best as you can eyeball. Leave a border if you want to leave a border. Don't if you don't. Matte first if you want to matte first. Right, so this is what we have. Doo-doo. Okay, so let's go to the beginning of our book. Flip to the second page. And so this one has a flip down, okay? So let's take our flap. And again, I'm going to round all of my corners. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that to all of my flaps. Just so I remember what I did to one, I'm going to do to all. The corner chomper, yes, it's supposed to be able to handle chomping. I could have did all these corners at the same time, but the corner chomper is 10 years old and it's on its way out. Definitely got my money's worth. All right. Back to this page. On the left hand side, we are centering it left and right, so about 1/8 of an inch on either side, or however you get it down, that's how you get it down. This is looking like a frog to me. Right, so here we are. There we are, darling. Okay, let's flip. This is the center of our book. We have a flap up and we have a flap down. Okay, so on the left hand side, you're gonna add your flap to the top. Normally I would turn my book upside down, but I don't want to confuse anyone. So this one flips up. See, I did not get this one very even because I'm not used to, I always go from the bottom, but it's okay. It's fine. And then this one, like this. So I'm gonna put this on the bottom, make it even as best as I can. And I actually did not do this one very well, so I haven't pressed it down yet, so I can still pick it up. There we go. Now, you can try to pry this off if it really is going to bother you. This one is going to be for a gift, and so I don't want it to be off. It's for a crafter, and so I know she'll notice it. Not that she would mind, but great product called Undo. Watch this business. Nope, don't care it's wet. Because guess what? It's alcohol based and it dries with no watermark, no nothing. The tape is still sticky, so I can just reposition it, or I can gently peel the tape off again and start over. I sometimes will leave the tape there. That one I had just got all messed up. So just let that dry, and then once it dries, reapply your tape and keep it moving. That's it. So I'm gonna let that dry. Okay, we're gonna flip the page. We have our flap on that flips up. I am gonna turn my book over so I can get this right and don't have to use my undo again. This is actually the top. I know it looks like the bottom, but it's the top. Perfect. See, I can work so much easier from bottom than I can the top. Okay, so I'm just gonna give my paper, see how it's already almost completely dry? Okay, so phone rang, but my piece has dried. So we're gonna go back in the middle and we're gonna put this on the top of the left-hand side, which I'm gonna turn mine around. It honestly doesn't matter which side you put your flaps on, but see how fast I can do it when it's upside down? But if you want your flaps to have the wow feature like this, then you need to put them how I said. But anyway, so that is the full construction of this mini album, and a little sneak peek of Undo. I bought my Undo at the Scrapbook Expo for $12.50, but it is on the Undo website right now. You can get 3 for $20. I've had mine for almost a year now, and this is I've only used that much of it. So, but I am going to buy the 3 for $20 because that's a good deal. It's only $9.99 on the Undo website, so undo.com. So, and it comes with the little black piece. I just popped mine off. All right, so I'm going to map this so you can see the different look, right? But I will mat it off camera. Okay, so I matted mine and I printed off a few little pictures just to kind of show you the matting. The paper collection I used was Simple Stories, Baking Spirits Bright, little scraps. This is a great little album to use your scraps. So little cut aparts here. in my pocket. And then you have plenty of room to add. These are your 2x3 pictures. So you can always do a little collage if you want to. You can do a little journaling if you just want to put this here, maybe a little white piece of paper there and just kind of journal. Your 3x4s will fit nicely on here. You can just leave that as is. And you know, just do your pictures like so. You can, even if you want to, cut out like the little face and put it on the apron. That'd be really cute. And then we have our flips. Great real estate for our pictures. Okay. And then we have this page. You know, you can do this. And our last page was just the same as our first, like so. And then another little pocket. But our fun feature is our 4-page layout that you can tell the whole story on the 4 pages. So a super duper fun little album. Like I said, same album, different measurements. This one's only slightly smaller, just 1/4 of an inch. The next 3 albums are going to be rectangles, I think. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.